Hey, what are you doing in my garden?
Nothing?
That's right, get out of here. That's right, stay out of my yard if you know what's good for you.
What's up everyone, my name's KleinStein and today I'll be talking about a game that'll blow you away in many ways. I'm talking about Leaf Blower Revolution Idle Game. Leaf Blower Revolution is an idle game or incremental game. Idle games are games where you do a slightly rewarding task over and over again to gain a certain currency. You can then reinvest that currency into upgrades that will eventually result in more currency. You can see how that gets addicting really quickly. A lot of idle games also have a way to earn stuff whilst being offline, and Leaf Blower Revolution is no exception. But this isn't your average cookie clicker. Leaf Blower Revolution gets much more interesting than that. Most of the popular idle games revolve around clicking. Sometimes it's clicking cookies, sometimes it's clicking monsters. In this case it's not clicking, it's blowing. But blowing away leaves. Let's talk about the one-man company behind Leaf Blower Revolution. The game was developed by a game studio based in Germany called Humble North. There is very little information about the company online, but I did manage to find out who the owner is. Michael Schippenis, who is the sole developer of Leaf Blower Revolution, and goes under the alias Cheesator on Discord and Keksthief, which translates into Cookie Thief on Reddit. When exactly the game started its development isn't publicly stated. My best guess would be somewhere in September of 2019. The release date, however, is publicly known. The game was released on December 4th of 2020. And Michael is still updating the game regularly, and as of the recording of this video, there are no signs of him stopping. Before Leaf Blower Revolution, Michael was working on a different idle game, one called Cosmic Raiders. There isn't a lot of information about Cosmic Raiders on the internet anymore. The only playable version I found is an alpha version that's still up and running on Congregate. Michael probably started working on Cosmic Raiders late 2015 and continued all the way up till 2019. Supposedly there was also a wiki for the game, but it's currently shut down, and even the Wayback Machine can't find anything about it. I also found a bunch of screenshots and update announcements in a now dead Discord server. There even was a Patreon to support Cosmic Raiders for a short time. The version of Cosmic Raiders I played is a basic idle game, but it plays decently well for what it is. Now that we know who Michael is and what led up to the release of Leaf Blower Revolution, let's talk about the game itself. Leaf Blower Revolution starts you off in your backyard collecting leaves. After collecting a bunch of leaves, you notice that the leaves keep reappearing, and that's where the gameplay starts. You chase leaves off screen to collect them. With those leaves you're able to buy tools such as a rake and many other more creative tools to help you collect more leaves. You'll also be able to spend the leaves in a leaf shop to get perks and upgrades such as extra trees or leaf fertilizers. These perks increase the amount of leaves that are generated on screen, improve your clearing efficiency, and multiply the rewards gained upon clearing them. After a while you unlock one of many different leaves to collect, the gold leaves. This new tier of leaves opens up new gameplay mechanics, such as the automatic leaf blower, which, as the name implies, will automatically blow leaves, and will allow you to truly idle out. You'll also unlock combos, which multiply the earned leaves, and portals, which will open the possibility to prestige, basically resetting the game all over again in exchange for an alternative prestige currency, which will allow you to progress faster and further. Quite soon it becomes obvious that prestiging is mandatory to progress through the game. The game is designed to end up in an inescapable bottleneck, which induces significant boredom, and allows you to restart the game without second thoughts. The prestige feature is present in a lot of idle games, and is a good way to switch up the otherwise repetitive gameplay loop. Hence, a pattern arises. You will blow away leaves and unlock new perks until you hit a bottleneck, upon which you reset the game. You then use the gained prestige currency to unlock new perks and progress a bit further than your last run. More leaves are collected, more prestige is gained, and so on. After a few hours of this exercise, things can get a bit crazy. Leaves can be converted into science, which is yet another tier of currency. Science unlocks new leaves, but also an alternative prestige mechanism, which adds another layer to the game, by introducing seeds, leaf printers, leaf exclusive locations, and leaf exclusive enemies. Pets, leaf bags, skins, daily rewards. I think you get the idea. Leaf Blower Revolution is a never-ending grind that manages to keep it fresh through smart game design. An example that I find really interesting is the Leaf Tower. Up until this point in the game, you never needed to kill an enemy to progress, but the Leaf Tower turns the game into an almost roguelike dungeon crawler. The actual game mechanics didn't change, you still blow leaves, but the way the game uses the leaves has changed. You use the leaves as a projectile to hurt enemies now, and the game is less about racking up combos and collecting leaves, and more about gaining rare items to defeat boss after boss. I'll stop talking about the gameplay now, since I feel like I've painted a pretty good picture of what to expect. I wanted to briefly touch on the subject of lore, since it's a pretty big part of the game. Although, if you're not into that, you can totally just not read any of it and still have a good time. But for those who do like lore, there is a lot to unpack. For a game about blowing away leaves, I wasn't expecting the lore to be this deep, and trust me, there's a lot of lore. The wiki page lists 65 pages of lore, each being a journal entry from the perspective of the person blowing away the leaves. The lore feels like an Alice in Wonderland-like fever dream. I'll try to summarize a bit of the lore without spoiling too much. You start off in your garden, casually raking away leaves because it's that time of the year again, but you find the work enchanting, something just draws you towards it. You quickly run to the store to get yourself a leaf blower. You also find an automatic leaf blower in the store, basically a leaf blower Roomba. Armed with your new tools, you decide to tackle the neighbor's garden. Even though they're more than capable of doing it themselves, you just can't seem to help yourself. The neighbor's garden has different, beautiful leaves. They guide you to the edge of the city, through the countryside, and to the top of the mountains. This is the part of the story where it becomes apparent that the leaves don't just want to guide you to the top of the mountains, they take you to all sorts of places. Space, the void, the abyss, even a celestial plane. What could be the final destination? Why do we keep blowing away leaves? And that's the mystery of the Leaf Blower Revolution lore. I won't delve any deeper than this into the story, since I feel like that might ruin the experience for some people. But I feel like the lore of this game could be a novel all on its own. Maybe they'll get released as a supporter bonus one day, who knows. Another thing that makes the game as great as it is the community. This isn't some AAA company trying to pump out a new game every year. This is a true passion project. And that really shows when we look at what Michael has done for the community so far. Let's take a look at the Leaf Blower Revolution Discord server. As you can see, this is an active server where a lot of people spend their time talking about the game and how to improve it. There are idea suggestion and tech support forums on the Discord that allows the community to properly voice their ideas and issues. And Michael actively reads the posts to fix any bugs and uses the community's ideas as inspiration for future updates. Now imagine Nintendo or even Ubisoft doing that. It's actually crazy how involved Michael is. Michael also promotes an active community surrounding the game by hosting tournaments and giving away prizes. The latest tournament hosted was the Cards and Guilds season, where people had a limited time frame to compete against each other for some pretty big prizes consisting of in-game items. Talking about the community, let's see how many active players there are and have been on Steam. As you can see, the game skyrocketed with 8,000 players close to the launch, and then settled around 3,000 daily players. But what I find impressive is not the fact that the game managed to have 3,000 daily players for almost 3 years. No, it's the fact that currently it's got a 94% positive reviews on Steam. This means that from the over 20,000 reviews that have been made, only 1,250 give or take have been negative. And I just wanted to go over some of my personal favorites because some of them perfectly sum up the Leaf Blower Revolution experience. This game blows. This game blows, 10 out of 10. It's okay, I guess. Currently has more than 18,000 hours logged on the game, but it's only okay, I guess. I'm a proud hetero man and can say, yes, blowing is fun. I only got this game 2 weeks ago, and I've already logged almost 400 hours. My wife is threatening to leave me. Help me. With a negative review and 3,000 hours logged. At 1,200 hours, I'm finally at mid-game. You have been warned. Currently has over 13,000 hours logged. Does this count as touching grass? Sure. No. With 7,000 hours logged. Also, a surprising amount of people wanted the sex mod, which I don't fully understand. And then there was this one review that wasn't actually a review, but just a pie recipe, which I couldn't resist not to make. Because when life gives you a random recipe in the Steam review section of a German-made leaf-blowing idle game, you might as well make the goddamn pie. And it actually tastes pretty good. Link in the description if you actually want to try this for yourself at home. After eating that delicious pie, I managed to slide into the game dev's DMs. That's right, I somehow managed to get an exclusive interview with the guy who made Leaf Blower Revolution. It went kinda like this. So, what was your motivation behind the making of the game?
I was always interested in game development. One day I was outside raking the leaves, and the idea of Leaf Blower Revolution was born, and I thought that this would be a good idle game.
What was the development like?
I worked as a software dev at a media agency, part-time, and as a freelancer. I could take a few minutes off each day from my freelance work, as well as some of my free time, to develop the game. Having used GameMaker since version 6.0, I knew how to create the game and started to create a prototype, which was done in almost a day or two. It was fun to play, so I continued working on it.
What was going through your mind whilst developing?
A lot. I wanted to be a game developer as a kid, so my motivation was fueled by this idea. I had so many ideas I wanted to add into the game that I had to write them down. Every day, every week, I thought about how to improve the game, how to solve bugs, and so on.
And how do you feel about the recent influx in players?
Every time I see a creator having released a video of the game, I'm filled with joy watching them, reading the comments, welcoming the new players on the Discord server. New players add a fresh breeze to the game, so I'm always happy about that.
And how do you see the future for yourself and the game?
I do hope to stay in the game industry as long as possible since it's been almost 3 wonderful years being a game dev. I also hope to keep working on Leafblower Revolution for a few more years, but that's pretty optimistic.
Are there any new games on the horizon?
Yes, but the prototype is not even ready.
Now, I've spent 2,000 hours in the game, and I want to share my own opinion and experiences I've had with the game so far. In my opinion, this is an idle game masterpiece. Unlike other idle games such as Cookie Clicker, the game manages to feel new and refreshing with every game mechanic introduced. It's almost like every time you get a new Leaf tier or another tier currency, you start a new idle game. The game somehow manages to turn the idle game genre, which is something that's notorious for offline grinding, into a game where you need to actively progress to certain areas of the game. And it doesn't take away from the fact that it's an idle game. It actually complements it really nicely. One of my fondest memories, and kind of a stupid decision when I think about it, is leaving my gaming PC, which is pretty beefy, running for weeks on end trying to grind certain areas slightly faster than being offline. Looking back, I would have probably saved more money on electricity bills by buying the supporters bundle instead of letting my power hungry machine run for that long. I would have probably gotten more progress done like that anyways. Well, that's all I've got for you today, guys. See ya.